In today's video, we're sharing with you Matt Wolff's iron secrets.
Yes, definitely. If you want to know how to strike your irons pure, then stay tuned. Oh, that sounded nice.
That sounded really good, didn't it?
So welcome to Meandmygolf. If you are new to the channel, then make sure you hit that subscribe if you want to improve your irons, and don't forget to hit that bell to never miss a video.
Yes, and if you are duffing your irons and looking for more consistency, then we definitely have the answer for you. It is Ultimate Irons Coaching Plan. Now you can start that for free by downloading our app. Click the link in the description.
Matthew.
How are you guys? Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
Every year we see you now, it's great.
I know,
we get
it's
to learn
awesome.
from you, we get to share it with the audience, it's brilliant.
Perfect, looking forward to it.
Let's talk about you warming up. Let's talk about you getting to the range. And we're really looking at irons today. Irons is a pain point for a lot of people, you know, in terms of striking it. What are the things that you do when you get to the range, you're just getting going? Is there anything that you do from a calibration to make sure that you're in check, to know that you're in the right place?
Absolutely, yeah. I think the most important things for me are just how I set up to the ball. I think I have a consistent setup that if you set up the same way every time, it makes it easier to have the same swing every time. So for me, I like to just have a little, just make sure I'll have a caddy, or I'll have someone take a video of me and just not try to do anything crazy, just hit like a normal shot and just see where my setup was at. If I have knee bend, if I'm not too far over or too far, my spine isn't, so it's just like little things like that, ball position. So those are the things that I would check to make sure on a day-to-day basis you are consistent.
Okay.
Because with a consistent setup comes more consistent shots. So that's first and foremost. But for me, I think the biggest thing on the range is the first couple swings. You really just have to get a feel for what your swing is feeling like that day, and making sure like the contact is good. So for me, the biggest thing is what I'll do is I'll probably end up just putting a ball on the ground. I mean, I don't really, maybe I'll do an alignment stick or something to see where I'm aiming, but for me, I really just like to hit a bunch of half shots. I really just like to really focus on the tempo of my swing, not too fast, not too slow, and just making sure that I can make that solid contact again and again, and making sure, it's, not half shots. You can, do 3/4, or I just really like to work my way up, because I feel like so many people, they go out there and all they do is just swing as hard as they can, as soon as they can.
Yeah.
And they don't give their body time to warm up and start moving correctly. And so for me, that's the biggest thing, is to make sure to get out there and just hit really smooth, like, making sure the body's working well. And the biggest thing for me is like to hit it pure, is just to make sure that rotation is good.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, when they don't hit the ball good, they're either, too steep on it, and then they don't rotate through the ball, or they come up and out of it too quickly. And I just feel like with you staying level and swinging easier, it's so much easier for your body to turn properly. Whereas that's what you'll see when people try to start hitting the ball really hard, they start jumping and they don't rotate, and their body isn't used to hitting the ball as hard as they're trying to. So I think the biggest thing for me is making sure that my tempo, my speed, my setup, all the things that I can control are in line. And once there, I hit a few shots, little punch shots, something like that, get the contact, and just kind of build my way up to swinging it full. And I feel like that's a much easier way to control how you're hitting the ball, because like I said, I mean, when you go out there and swing 100% right as soon as you get to the range, it's, it's a recipe for disaster sometimes.
Exactly. Well, can you do us a couple of those shots and just talk us through the percentage in terms of the speed? Because I think it is a great point for the guys at home to just not go full out, but just talk us through how fast you actually are going on these softer ones that you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'll do too is, I think it helps probably at the level I'm at. I mean, we're trying to get the people that are watching to be where I'm at, but at the end of the day, I'll try to, if I'll have like a TrackMan or a flight scope or anything like that, I'll kind of, try to make sure to be like hitting numbers and stuff. So I'll have my caddy, be like, all right, 120 yards, and I'll just be like, all right.
And you've got 8 iron here, yeah? So there's 120 yards 8 iron. So smooth, so soft.
Absolutely, and you see the contact was good. I took a little bit of a divot. It was pure, my body was working well. And then, it's not all about distance, it's just about really the strike and making sure that you're able to, hit it consistently. But yeah, I mean, I'll start off with 100 yards, 120 yards, just making sure time and time again.
Well, the good thing about this is you've got a clear outcome. You've got to clear, what am I trying to do? 120 yards, right, what do I need to feel? There's a purpose to each shot, which is not just ball,
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, is you see so many people when they get on the range. They don't aim at anything. They don't have a target. There's no, like you said, there's no purpose for each shot. And at the end of the day, if you put a purpose on each shot, you're gonna get better.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just hitting balls to hit balls and you think that the more balls you hit, and that's not how it works, you know? There's not a direct correlation between the two.
How many you hit now?
Exactly, and then once I'll do that, I'll hit a little 100-yard shot, 120, something like that, and then I'll work my way up. So I'll swing a little harder, just making sure, And the biggest thing for me that I feel like, or the most important thing, is making sure that on those 120-yard shots or those 100-yard shots, you're not short. You really got to control the tempo of your swing and not try to swing it too hard. I feel like when people try to hit, 100-yard shots, when you give them a 7-iron, I mean, they go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't take it back at all. And it's so, I mean, yes, obviously that was pure because I know, I can control the length of my swing and stuff, but the point of warming up and the point of making your contact is pretty much recreating your swing and how it's gonna feel, but in a more smooth and controlled motion, and be able to work your way up to where you wanna be instead of starting at the top, because like you said, you need to warm up.
I think that's brilliant.
Really good.
You'll notice as well, Matt, there, use control a lot, because this is what this is all about. It's about controlling distance, and I love the fact that you're controlling that with speed, which is key thing. I know you're going to talk about numbers there.
Yeah. Well, 118 it was, not 120, by the way.
It's 2 yards out, come on.
But the furthest one you've hit there is 151, and normally an 8-iron for you goes how far?
I usually hit it about a little under 180. It's about 175, 180.
So you can see even on his longest one, he's still dialing down the speed just so he's getting the rhythm, the flow. But the swing, as you saw, was the normal length that you do.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's going to be people watching this now, though, going, well, I just duff my irons a lot. They don't quite compress the golf ball, which is something we can see by the ground there and the flight that you hit it, that you do really well. So it may not so much be a drill that you work at now. Maybe there is a drill. You work for compression now, or maybe something you've done in the past. But these guys and girls, they're watching.
They need your
help. Give them some help.
So I said I don't use alignment sticks much for, warm up and stuff like that, getting the feel of my swing. But yes, if you do have trouble with the contact, there is one thing. I'll take an alignment stick or something like that. Yeah, that'd be great. If you can just put it in the ground about a little bit ahead of you, something like that. The biggest thing for people is they get so inconsistent with their follow through. Sometimes they're so up on it, and then other times they're so steep on it. And I think for this, it's a good way to be able to control pretty much your rotation through the ball, which rotation not only controls the ball flight, you can control the ball flight way easier, but it also controls like the contact. It also controls, how your face is staying square through the target for longer. And I think the biggest thing for me is I'll put a stick here, and again, I won't take full swings. It'll be half shots and stuff, but a big thing for me is I'll just focus on kind of, pretty much staying as level as possible to the ground. So not trying to have too much hit down or not trying to lift the ball up in the air, is really just trying to turn as much possible through the ball. It's important to turn back, but you see some of the best players in the world, they don't have the biggest hip turns and stuff, but when they get through the ball, it is so, I mean, there's no stoppage. They just fire their hips and fire their shoulders through the ball. And I think for me and for, everyone, that's a thing that pretty much everyone can work on, because there's only a few people that I've seen that really rotate to a point where it's too much,
Yeah.
And so, so I'll put something right here. I'll kind of just hit a half shot, and I'll just focus on sweeping the ground, maybe not trying to take a divot, not trying to pick it, just more trying to sweep the ground. So that's a big thing for me.
I think it's a real key point here, because most golfers thinking this, well, I need to hit down on the golf ball. So they try and hit down. And you mentioned again, through. We actually want to hit through the golf ball, past the ball. And exactly what you're talking about there, Matt, is by doing this and thinking of this sort of brushing, there's none of this sort of downward motion into the ground.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is exactly it, isn't it? Like you said, people do this to start, think they've got to do this then afterwards, and then before you know it, they're stuck in the middle of both bad places.
Absolutely.
This is awesome.
But if you are off grass and you're struggling with your contact, I would just tee up the ball a little bit. I know you can't tee the ball up in the fairways, but I would just give yourself a little bit of leeway. you know, you're obviously starting out, you're struggling with stuff, just put that ball a little up on a tee so it's that much easier for you to feel like you don't have to lift the ball up in the air or you don't have to hit really far down on it. You could really just sweep it off the tee and make sure to keep that rotation through the ball. And, you know, this stick, you know, don't put it too low. Like, you know, you can put it more vertical than anything. Whoa.
Doesn't fall out of the tree.
You could put it more vertical because I don't want you hitting it. I don't want the ball hitting it. But it's just kind of a way that it allows you to make sure to finish left, because when you finish right, your hands flip over and that increases face rotation. Yeah. Whereas I think the control aspect of my game and what I do so well, so you can see all these divots and all these pros divots, they're so flush through impact and after impact, and then their face flips over. Whereas I think so much people have so much face rotation, like as they're hitting the ball, that it's so hard to control, because golf is a game of,
absolutely,
inches, millimeters. So if you're just slightly off, it's hard to control that ball. So for me, if you're off grass, put the ball off a tee. Again, don't try to swing out of your shoes, just make sure you control it and just.
Yeah, I really like that. And there's just no curve at all on that. It's just such a neutral ball flight. I like it. I think it's really good. Okay, we've got a question here from our member, one of our members. Will Holmes said, how do you vary setup and swing to change the shape of the ball flight? A low one and a fade.
Gotcha, okay. One of the biggest things with with setup, I think, is being able to put the ball more back in your stance when you're trying to hit it low. That's just a really big thing, because your angle of attack is going to be more down on it. And when you are trying to hit the ball low, that really helps. And as well with a fade, not only can you hit the ball low with a fade, but I would also open your stance a little bit, which is just pretty much moving your body lines more left. And it's so funny because most people that play golf, they might not know this, but golf is a game of opposites. If you want the ball to go right, you have to swing left. Yeah. If you want the ball to go left, you have to swing right. If you want the ball to go high, you got to hit down on it. It's all a game of opposites. So for me, the biggest thing is people, when they try to hit a fade, they try to exit out that way and push the ball to go right, whereas that's not how you're supposed to do it. You're really supposed to cover it, keep on rotating, and make sure to go low and left, because when you go low left, the reason why a ball fades is because your path is more left than your face. So like I said, you need to finish left in order for that ball to cut.
Can you fade one round our cameraman
Sean
here?
can just stay there. Sean, you just stay there, a little little fade around you.
Okay, let's hit a little low fade. Can you hit a low fade for us?
Yeah, I'd love to. And another thing really quick before I hit this is, in order to start the ball and not feel like you're pushing it, another good thing is to just put like an alignment stick kind of right at your target and just make sure to start it left of that target. Because like I said, most people, they try to push the ball out to the right, but that's gonna make your ball start right of this. You need this ball to start left of it and then cut, and then for a draw the opposite, start right and draw. Perfect. But I'd love to hit one.
You know what, so I hope you guys are taking notes on all what Matt's saying here. All this stuff is just so good and so useful. So
make sure you hit the like if that's helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure this is brilliant. Yeah, very nice.
Really nice.
Very nice. Low little fade, little peeler off there. Makes it look so easy, Pierce. So easy.
So
years of practice.
Yeah, he's done it before.
He's done it a few times.
Look, one of our questions next was top 3 amateur mistakes. Now we've kind of seen, we've had the trying to hit down and almost the trying to hit up. We've seen that going for the flags isn't always the best thing to do. So you've kind of given us 2 there already.
Gotcha.
Is there anything else that you see amateurs, anyone who's watching this now, that could be really holding them back?
Even on the course, whatever you think.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to iron play, I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure to play for the big side of greens, play for that miss. If you're a drawer of the ball or a fader of the ball, just make sure you have room up there to hit the ball. And at the end of the day, going after flags is just, if you feel confident, I'm not saying you should never go after a flag. If you have a good number or a wedge or something like that, and the pin's in the middle of the green, by all means, go right after it. But at the end of the day, chipping from across the green, you're probably, might be more likely to get it up and down than chipping from 5 feet away from the pin, because there's a huge downslope. So it's all about making sure that you miss on the right side. But another thing that I see with amateurs when it comes to, stuff that they can improve on, is just they try to hit the ball too hard. They try to get, you know, they want to be like, oh, I want to hit the ball as far as the pros. I want to do all this stuff. And I think the biggest thing is you see all these guys on tour, DJ, you know, Tony Finau, even Rory. It's like as they've gotten older, and I mean, I'm still learning it too, but they've learned how to knock down their shots better. They've learned how to take more club and, you know, take some off of it. Or, you know, if it's a back flag, they're not always trying to go all the way back to that flag. It might be, you know, oh, it's a back flag, but long is dead. Let me take the less club and just make sure that this isn't going to go over the green, and eliminate those bogeys or those big numbers. Yeah. And so for me, I feel like most people, they try to take the lower club and hit it harder and stuff like that. And I just feel like so many amateurs suffer from that because they want to hit the ball so far. They want to be able to attack those flags, and they think that if we can do it, they can do it. Yeah. And I think that there's so much more to golf, and there's so much more to course management, like playing away from flags or taking that right number and not trying to hit every shot as hard as possible. But yeah, for the most part, I would just say you really need to make sure to kind of see where you want to miss the ball and just give yourself room to do that, because I hate to say it, sorry for all you fans out there watching this, but golf's a hard game. You're not going to hit every shot good.
I have an interesting, sorry, whether it's an interesting question or not, I don't know, but how often, you hit the ball a long way, so you've often got short irons into greens, but on an 18-hole round, tournament round, how often will you go for the flag?
I'd say probably around 4 or 5.
4 or 5 a round?
Yes. I mean, I really think that, you know, it depends on the course and it depends on where the flag is, but again, too, like I said, if you draw the ball, if you fade the ball, there are certain, you know, for me, I'm more comfortable with left flags because I draw my irons. I can obviously fade them, as you just saw a couple minutes ago, but for me, I like to aim at the middle of the green and draw it in there, because if it doesn't draw, it's in the middle of the green and it's missing on the fat side, and I'm giving myself room. But at the end of the day, those are the pins that I attack more than right flags. For me, right flags are a little harder to get to because I like to draw the ball. Even on tour, unless you have pretty much a 9 iron, 8 iron or down, you're really not looking to go after flags. So, I mean, I really like, you know, what we've talked about and how we've said to really control not only your distance with your speed and everything, but also, you know, your line, because there's so many people that, you know, they'll have 5 iron in their hand and they'll go right after a flag, or, you know, they'll just be too aggressive. And at the end of the day, you're making a lot more bogeys with 5 iron than you are birdies. Yeah. So if you can really cancel out those bogeys and change those bogeys to pars, that's when you go shooting from 84 to 78. Yeah.
Some amazing stuff, you know, on ball striking and on strategy there. And a lot of that is actually in Ultimate Irons. So make sure you check that out by clicking the link, download the app, and you can start Ultimate Irons for free.
Matt, that was a masterclass
awesome.
in irons.
That was awesome.
Where can the guys go and follow you on socials? Where are you most active?
I mean, I'm active on all social medias. Instagram and Twitter are big for me. But yeah, I don't have a YouTube channel yet like you guys, but maybe I'll
maybe in the future.
Yeah, maybe
with all those tips, you shouldn't be keeping them to yourself. You need to put that somewhere.
Well, tell me about it. Well, that's why I have you guys to share all the secrets.
Exactly. No, thanks, man. Have a great season.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you.